Are we okay?
Still,
you can still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome once again to another Warrior Wednesday special. Karibuni sana. I have no right to that song before Facebook shuts me down. There's a beautiful song by Todd just talking about victory belonging to Jesus. How are you today? I am so glad to join you today. I have, as I said, for those who are able to see our fly, we have a phenomenal woman, and there's a good reason why I call her that. So yes, please invite a friend or two, actually 10, come, so that we are able to be blessed together. So I'm going to give you just a few seconds so that now we can start this show together with our guest. She'll be able to introduce herself better, and you'll be able to know her a little bit more. You too. Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Amazing. Okay, I can see people have started coming in. Amazing. Please share and invite others. Karibuni, karibuni. I can see our numbers are growing. Amazing. Amazing. All right. I want us to start again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending with where you're watching us today. But we are so excited to come to you once again on a Warrior Wednesday special. This is Kara Olmurani, and my name is Terry Gobanga. Today we have a phenomenal guest. There's a good reason why I called her this. For a long time, I've been talking about just having a people who, it's not just about the boardroom, but they're actually out there bringing in a difference, doing something, people who are ready to get their hands dirty, so to speak. Because I'm born again, I want to slide this one in right here. If there's someone who I know would get his hands dirty, is our Lord. I mean, severally, he would get into those murky waters just to get to whoever he needed to get to, whether it is the woman by the well, whether it is the kids, getting yourself dirty. People are not expecting you to associate yourself with that particular person. And that's who our guest is today. So I know you just want me to excuse you so that we can hear from our guest today. Kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Njeri Megwe, popularly known as Njeri Megwe.
Yes.
I'm the co-founder of Usikimie. At Usikimie, we do sexual and gender-based violence. We advocate for women, children, and even men. And we do rescues, rehoming, and we also run a GBV shelter for women and children.
Okay.
Yes.
Amazing.
That's just, I'm a
Before we
mother.
even dive in, because I'm going to be asking you, how did Isikimie come about? Even just the name on its own, it's screaming at you. It's telling you, don't shut. Don't, because our society now just tells us all the time, keep quiet. You're going to embarrass our family. Before I even get there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Is there something about your past that actually ushered you into this into this messed up but yet beautiful life, because you're bringing order where something seems to be going off? So can you tell us, can you give us a little bit sneak peek on your life?
Okay. Growing up, I was raised by a single dad. And he taught me the necessity of giving back. So giving back has always been part of our family. I can tell you, my brothers, every one of us has people living with them that are not necessarily people that came to them by blood, but by love. So that is one. That one we were taught by our father. Number two, in order for me to have ever entered the murky worlds of GBV and SGBV, I am a survivor. Actually, I don't call myself a survivor. I'm a warrior.
Warrior. Yes. There you go.
Yes. You have to come from a victim to a survivor to now entering into activism. You're no longer any of those. You refuse to carry any of those badges. And now I'm a warrior. I had close contact with GBV in my past. I'm partly deaf on 1 year because of GBV. Yes, about 12 years ago, I was hit so hard in the ear, and my eardrum on my left ear perforated. So I have about 25% hearing on that ear. I should have a hearing aid, but no, it's never that serious. Yes, so that is how I find myself. Yes. Yes, so, but 10 years, is it 10 years? 9 years, yeah. 2012. So 8 years, roughly, I got divorced. I left that situation behind me. And I was a single mother for some time. And so I healed, I learned to heal. And then I also realized when I left my first marriage and I walked away from it, I did not have a place to go. Not that I would have gone home, but I was too embarrassed. For me, the reason I did not go back home was the embarrassment. I was too embarrassed to go and tell people my marriage had failed. And I really had nowhere to go.
Yes.
I didn't have a place, and I didn't have anyone. I didn't even have friends. I didn't have anywhere I could have gone. I just had little money, and I rented myself a house, and I started my life from there. And it was hard, Terry. It was so hard. First, because you were working together, so I had no job. All right, so I'm here, I'm struggling, and obviously I have kids, and I don't know what to do. You see, so I realized one of the mainstays of women who are living, or even women who are living abusive situations, one of the things that they don't have is a place where they can go, even for some time, just to sit and to say, hey, I need a place.
Absolutely.
I need something. Where can I go? It's only so long. Let's say, for example, me, I can only go to your house, Terry, with my 5 children. How long will you be able to house me? Maybe a day or two, and then you'd be like, wow, these kids, and in the current economic situation. So, yes, exactly. So I realized there was a gap, that there was a gap that needed to be addressed. But of course, even as you realize it, you're also struggling yourself, and you need to get settled. So last year, I was doing rescues, but I was bringing people to my house. I could rescue somebody, invite them into my house, live with them, and things like that. And, it's not a very tenable situation, because here you are, and you're bringing people into your house. I mean, I don't think that's a very, you also want your kids to grow up in a healthy space.
Exactly.
And, all that. So we decided, with my friend, her name is Stella Kachina. on 29th of December, we took a leap of faith and we started Usikimia. Usikimia came from a leap of faith. We just said, you know what, let's do it. So we started Usikimia. Usikimia, when we started, we wanted to do a lot of advocacy and just bring into the fact that there's so much domestic violence, intimate partner violence, rape, molestation, and even femicide that was going on in the country, and nobody was taking statistics or checking on what was happening, even to kids, even to women, even to, you know, whatever was surrounding the whole issue. No one was really paying any attention to it, because until maybe this year, we didn't even have what do they call them? Automated OB, occurrence book numbers. So cases couldn't even be, you couldn't know that a woman was killed in Kericho or a domestic violence took place in Kericho and this happened. Nobody was putting in the statistics, and we were very concerned because we felt like the message wasn't reaching out there. So that's how the name Usikimia came about. We felt like nobody was doing much about it. So it was just there. You just saw a woman was killed. Nobody even bothers to name this person. A body of a woman was found. You know, you just seen the news, and we felt like nobody was really reaching out and talking to people about this particular situation. So we started Usikimia like that, like a gender advocacy. Now, we start talking about things, and we tell people to speak up, and we tell people, hey, you know, speak up, speak up. Higher, speaking up, people did. People started telling us, no, you're telling us to speak up. Then what? Where do we go? So people send you inboxes and they tell you,
So when they say,
so people tell you, hey,
what do you want us to do?
What do you want us to do? Hey, my husband beat me yesterday and threw us and the kids. Where do we go? You tell us to speak up. I've spoken up. Allah. So it became a very serious crisis. And we are like, where are we going to do? What are we going to do? We have to do something. We cannot just sit on the sidelines. So we start looking for shelters. Then that is when we started realizing there's not that many shelters in this country, and non-government-led shelters. They're not there. So the few shelters that are there, they're already full. The demand is high, or the shelters are in places where they are meant for the people in that particular locality. Like now, when I take a woman and I take her to Shofko in Kibera, I am taking up a bed space for a woman who needs it, who lives in Kibera. You understand? So we started realizing we have to look for somewhere. So again, in March, we took a leap of faith and got 3 rooms and started a shelter. We just got into it. We went on Facebook. We said, people, do you have extra things? Do you have beds? Do you have mattresses? Do you have, you know, anything that you can give us so that we have this vision? Because what we were doing before we started the shelter is we would try and buy food for this woman, get her a house, and so on and so forth. So this one time, somebody gifted us with such big shopping. And we felt this shopping can be divided into maybe 5, even 6 homes. And we asked ourselves, why don't we just open a shelter where we can actually literally just take in these women, work with them, look for social cycle support, work with these women, and, you know, just give them skills. And then when they leave, their lives are changed. That's how we started a shelter.
That's
so we started a shelter. That was okay. The shelter was
When
doing
was it?
okay. We were getting.
Sorry, when was this?
This is in March.
March of this.
March this year.
Wow.
Yes. March 2020.
And you can actually see.
We think, oh, this is a
great
good
the
deal. We
need
have
is.
started this. I'm losing you, Terry.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you. Yes, that's better.
Okay.
So in March is when now.
I was saying how important, and you can see how the demand is so great because you just started the other day. This year, we're talking about this year, March, and yet
this particular year,
the demand is just on another level because people are very desperate for this particular ministry. And one of the things that really spoke to me, that when you were, you know, when you're in that abusive relationship and you even ended up losing part of your hearing, you didn't allow it to put you down. But I'm going to take you back and ask you, for you in your case, were you able to just come out? Did you sit with yourself and say, hey, I didn't sign up for this kind of relationship, I've got to jump out? Or did it take intervention from friends or family who told you, Jerry, you can't be here. What was it like for you? Because I've had so many stories of ladies who've gone through GBV, gender-based violence. They're always saying, I've always heard and I've read and I've seen different testimonies how hard it is to get out of this kind of situation. So how did you manage to get out?
Let me first say, it was not easy. It wasn't that I just casually walked out one day, like, hey, I'm leaving, and I walked away. To be very honest, at first there were people who are willing to help me and intervene, but I would always be like, I would ignore. They'd be like, hey, Jerry, and I'd be like, nah. You know, it's never that serious. It doesn't really beat me. It's never, like, it's only once, maybe a year, or maybe once every 6. So, you know, it's never, you know, marriage.
The excuses.
At some point, everybody left me alone, you know, because I remember some years passed. That's a big beating. It's really etched in my mind because that one was bad. That one was really bad.
Yeah.
That one was bad. That one I remember because, and I remember my brothers came and they were so adamant, we are living with you, because when they saw the amount of damage, we're looking at blood on the ceiling, we're looking at the fact that when he hit me so hard, I fell on a marble sideboard, on a marble dressing. You know, we were fairly wealthy. So,
Yes.
yeah. And I fell on a marble dresser we had in our bedroom. And it's, you know, marble is like stone. So it hit me so hard, I was unconscious. I was unconscious for some time. And I remember they socked me in a bathtub until I was able to wake up. And they called my brothers, and my brothers came in. And my brothers were like, we are living with you today. There is nothing that you're not staying.
We can't leave you here.
We have to go with you. Yes, we can't leave you because you're going to die, Jerry. And well, at that particular time, he was the love of my life. And it didn't make sense for me to leave. I don't know how he just managed to talk to me. I was really young. And I was really young, and I don't know, and I really loved him, and I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. I didn't leave though. I stayed. I was like, you know, he talked to me and he said it's going to change, and I stayed. And stayed, I did. And I lost so many friends along the way. I didn't have many friends, Aziz, but I also lost, you know, my family, because they were like, you know, they were tired of, you know, coming in and telling me, Jerry, you need to leave, and stuff like that. So
the family,
I didn't have friends at that point when I was leaving. But when I lost my hearing, I realized one of these days I'm going to lose my life. And I just told myself, that's it, I'm done. And I've never looked back. And I walked away, and it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I'm not going to tell anyone listening or watching that walking away is easy. It is hard. It is messy. It is dirty. I can tell you, yes, I walked away physically that day, but it took me 2 years to completely be cut off from him. Even in those 2 years, we would get back. No, not really get back, but, you know, we would be somehow together. You know, we were still intertwined, and he would call me, and it was not just a curtain. It wasn't. It was shades of gray. Yes, it was shades of gray. And finally, one day, I managed to just say, you know, we cut off everything. We cut off, and, you know, every one of us started our own lives. We realized that we were not good together. We were not, you know, we were not meant to be together. And every one of us, he started his own life, and I started my own life. Because, you know, our lives were so intertwined. I'd been with him since I was in Form 2, so you can see how long that is.
So high school sweethearts. Oh my God.
Yes. This was my first love. He was, yes.
That was very hard. But
yes.
What about children? Did you find yourself giving this excuse, I have to be here because of my children, I can't just rip them off from their dad?
Oh, of course.
That part of the excuse you would give yourself.
Yes. That was one of the biggest excuses I had. Like, why am I leaving when I have children? I have children with this man. I mean, you know, we've worked so hard together, and we've built all this and we have children. What am I going to do if we leave?
Yeah.
But there's a time that comes for everything. And I think it's very important to also realize that there are seasons for things. And I think our season was past.
Okay.
And I was just holding on into something that the foundation was already moved. And you're just holding on into it. And the resulting trauma, what I've also come to learn as in the world of GBV, and even on a personal level, is that we say we are staying for the children, but what we are showing our children is that love.
That's true.
You leave because you are telling your children that violence is a way of life.
Yes.
So what we do, we're teaching our children it's okay. We normalize violence in their lives. So these children, even when they grow up, their love language that they will learn is a language of violence. For the boys, they will equally be violent to girls, and the girls will be accepting of violence because they saw their mother take it. If you look back into maybe many people, and at that particular time when you lived, they actually assumed this was a way of life.
Yeah.
You see, our children may not normalize this because now they know better. And even for us, because we had learned, our generation had learned that it is okay because you have seen your parents go through a season of violence, or even your neighbors, that this is how people are supposed to live. You see, so we normalize that. We normalize the conversation of violence around us. So I came to realize that I traumatized my kids. You see, I traumatized them.
Yeah.
And that's all they need. Actually assume that love is supposed to be violent, whereas love has nothing. Love is just love. Love is supposed to be something beautiful, something shared.
Absolutely.
So staying for children is a fallacy that we get rid of.
It's a complete fallacy. I totally agree. Whenever you're counseling with women, and I couldn't put it any better than our guest today, because she has walked through it, and it's truly a fallacy. Every time you need to say it's because of the children, think about the high numbers of femicide that are going on everywhere. Just the other day, I'm sure many of you are viewers, so black and white pictures. And many people did not even understand what was going on. And I saw other women bashing this and saying, hey, you know what? Just don't do anything without knowing and things like that. But then I was thinking, we are just trying to say something without really putting in a lot of words. We are just trying to say, we see our kind is dying. We can see this is happening, and we just want to tell you that while we can see, we are trying to rise up and do something different. So it's not everything that you bash. Social media, you can actually walk away and nothing will happen. It's not every topic that you need to find yourself having to comment about something, because some things are really, really important. And especially if you're a survivor yourself of gender-based violence or any other kind, or you have lost someone dear to you, then you will actually be able to say, hey, you know what? Thank you for standing with me. Thank you for supporting me. So yes, we are still talking to Jerry, who is a co-founder of Usikimye. If you do not know about Usikimye, you need to go to their Facebook page and just click right on there. You'll be able to be updated on so much. We've worked with Jerry in the back scenes, when we need to be able to sort out something. Just before we came on live, I was telling Jerry, there's a girl I need you to rescue for me in Kariobangi. And the word that she said was so beautiful. She just said, just give me the details, consider it done. You have no idea what it means to have that person who can actually say, I will put down my life, because that's basically what Jerry does. I will put down my life and ensure that that other life is taken care of. Because whenever we are doing rescues, it's not that safe. There are times I have seen her, the times I've talked to her in the middle of the night. She's telling me I'm in between rescue, and after this is what we're going to do. And, and I say, wow, how much she's given herself to Usikimye. So Jerry, please take some time and just talk to us about who can communicate with you, who can contact you about the situation, who qualifies to get in touch with Usikimie and say something is off. And then later on, you will tell us about your halfway house, so to speak, the shelter, where you're able to help someone to get stable before you usher them into yet another home. So maybe you can tell us about number one, what's the criteria for me to be able to pick up my phone and call Jerry and say, I need your help? Who are the people who qualify?
Are you a survivor of sexual or gender-based violence? Call me. Are you a neighbor who is seeing something that is happening, especially when it pertains to children? I always say that adults can make their own decisions.
They can.
But when it comes to children, even if you're a neighbor, call me. I will come. If you're seeing something that is concerning to you in regards to especially children, because children have no voice of their own and no one can hear them, talk to us. Again, I say, in regards to adults, it's very easy for you when your sister is going through something, or your cousin or your mother, for you to call me. But if this person is going through this and they don't want help, even if I reach out to them, they will tell you. I was talking to my friend today earlier, and we had reached out to her niece. And her niece is going through hell in her marriage, and she's really going through a lot of abuse. And when we reached out to her, do you know what she told us? Give me a month and a half. I don't even know whether in a month and a half she will still be alive. But that is what she told us. So you have to, you see, do you understand what I mean? Sometimes it is, especially for children, let us know. Whether it is issues of abuse, sexual molestation, whatever it is that you see, we will come through. Children don't have a voice of their own. So let us speak on behalf of children. So if you contact us via inbox, my number is very public, and you call us anytime, we will pick up your call. Text me, WhatsApp, inbox us on Facebook. We will sure come through. As long as there is somebody who is going through particular issues that are covered by the umbrella of sexual and gender-based violence, we'll be there. Yeah, we have made a motto to, to come through. So if you're dealing with a case that is in Meru right now, and a case that is in Makueni, that should tell you that we go to places where people are afraid even to venture. Yes.
Until
that is anybody who
Kara Omurani, I had absolutely no idea that the work we do, we have cartels. I mean, I had no idea that there are different places where they're controlled by, some different cartels where it's not just easy you get in and penetrating there. You can be stopped. They can ask you not to come in. I don't know if you've experienced that. Have you experienced people who are buying you from doing justice, from actually just ensuring that someone is brought out into safety? Have you experienced
Let me tell you what is happening. Let me even just tell you what I'm going through, what I'm going through today before I just entered into this live. We have a case in Meru where the children who have been molested, these are twin girls. As of now, we had gotten the mother arrested, and we were going to get the father because he is the molester. And the mother went to the police, and the mother just said that she's not aware and this is not happening. And therefore, do you know, the police have taken the OB number, the hospital reports, and they have said that there is no case. This is a man not only who has been molesting this child, he's been molesting his adult daughter, and he has children with her. But now we don't have a case. So we have to start from square zero.
I know.
Which means the person I sent to Meru, or who is working on the ground for us in Meru, has been stopped by the actual police who are supposed to help these girls to access justice. So my first worry about these girls is they're not safe.
No.
Anything can happen to them because you see, they leaked up what was a family secret. But here we are. You've taken all the documents that would, from the OB, it has been taken by the OCS. And the documents for the hospital and everything else that my person on the ground had, it has now been taken. You see? Wow. So now I'm necessitated by, by circumstances to now go to Meru and start from square zero. And now everything has been imekatazwa. And yes, we get a lot of blockage from police, from sometimes even children officers. Well, this whole, I did not know how murky the world I was stepping into was.
I know.
But it is, I think, as somebody
Yes.
who
I
runs
had
this,
no
you
idea,
already
so
know
I
that,
know
yes,
exactly
there
what
are
you're
actually
talking
cartels
about.
in this thing.
Yes. In fact, well, let me just point this out.
I just go without even thinking.
One of the things that I found very shocking in this world was I thought it's an open and shut case, and especially in the case of children, where there's this report, or there's a word going round, and you step in, and oh, you know what, maybe the woman is feeling I can't step out because of money issues or what. But even when we give a way out for the sake of the children's safety, because the father is molesting the children, defilement and stuff like that, I have come across so many women who decide to protect their husband. And I've always wondered, and I'm studying about it right now, yes, but still I'm just trying to put book to, to theory and everything. How does a woman say, this is my husband, and the husband is sleeping with her and with the children? How do you get to, what law is that? Jerry, call me today. What law is that?
I'm going to say this, and it saddens me to say that most children that are molested with the knowledge of their mothers.
That's true.
They know it, but they choose to protect their marriage over their children. I don't understand it. I call them enablers. They are the enablers of that defilement.
Of course.
This woman today has said categorically she's not aware that her children have been molested. My first thought as a mother would have been, let's take these children to hospital and confirm.
Let's check.
And confirm that these children have been molested.
Absolutely.
Let us argue about the molestation when it has been checked. I would not even be talking about my husband.
That's true.
I had to go to yesterday on Sunday. I had to go to I don't remember, either Kawangware or somewhere. I had to go and talk to a mother of a child and she was in hospital when I took her kid. This is actually a disabled child. This is a child with cerebral palsy that her husband had molested. I don't know how it's such a bad thing. How do you even molest a disabled child? Now, I had to go and break this down to her. I had to go round and round in circles because this is a woman who is sick. She just left hospital the day before. And I had to break, and she is one of the best examples of motherhood I have seen. Why am I saying this? Because she asked the husband 3 questions. I left you with these children. No one enters this house.
Yes.
How is it possible that this child has been raped? She said, the only person who has been with these children is you. Yeah. Therefore, it makes sense that I did not tell her that the husband had molested the child. She made the conclusion, and she just jumped on the man and he had to run away.
She faced it.
Most of the time, she faced it head on. And I was just there. She's an exemplary case where I have seen a mother's side with a daughter. But I can tell you, in all the rescues we have done, all the mothers have chosen to protect the perpetrator, either by helping them escape or by completely denying the fact that their daughters are being abused by their husbands.
That's true.
And it is the saddest thing I have seen, and I don't understand why a marriage should have more priority than your own child. When you are meant to be the protector of the progeny that comes from your womb.
That's true.
It's a sad state of affairs.
That's very true. I like something that you said.
That is why anytime when I get a sexually
Go ahead.
I was saying, that is why for me, when I find instances of abuse, we work with the children office to make sure that all the children are removed from that home, because no one is safe. No one is safe. I have brought you a few girls. I have had to rescue their siblings as well. Because you cannot be sure if this person, the mother, is protecting the husband, then they don't deserve these children.
Absolutely.
They don't deserve these children. And the most vulnerable children that I find sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes, is the children that the mother got married with. If I'm a single mother and I have a child and I get married with that child, I find most of the time these children are very vulnerable. They're very vulnerable. Yes, you find most of the time that their adopted fathers sometimes molest them. You know, when you see it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, then you realize then this is a pattern that most children, when they're with, they're not safe. Yes. And it's unfortunate.
Sad state of affairs. And one of the things that our topic today, we're talking about activism. Does it help? I mean, do you see whenever you take on activism, are you seeing any fruit that is backing you, or is it just noise? Do you actually see the tangible results? Because it's very interesting with all the escalation. The numbers don't lie, you know, and I think that's why people just would rather identify the the women femicide, for example, even the men, that are dying out of abuse. Many people would just want to brush it away, and nobody would want to do numbers because the numbers don't lie. The numbers have a way of staring you in the face and telling you something needs to be done. But even in our country where numbers are not lying, and it's rather obvious this is happening, and in the world over. But now today, when we're talking about Kenya specifically, we have one shelter, one government funded, government state, so to speak. We have one state shelter in the whole country. This is in Machapo, one, which was just, it was open there. So what is a state funded? Sorry, yes.
What's the shelter is in Makueni.
Makueni, exactly.
I'm just correct.
So what's happening that all these other counties, let's not even go counties, let's go province, let's go back in the day. Even provinces, just we would have 8 state-funded safe houses, because there's something that you said which is very, very important, and I think this is the part where we end up having even most of the women or men who are trapped in this kind of situations holding on, because when you're being beaten and you see I have nowhere to go, or yes, I can go to my home. The way you had an option, you could go to your home, but then there was the embarrassment of my marriage has failed, because I am sure everybody goes through that. So you tend to find yourself, let me just hang on. And it is in that hanging on that we've lost so many people's lives.
Maybe things will change.
Yes. So this state-funded homes, shelters, I'm sure would come in so handy, where, I can go, there's shelter, there's food for me, at least I'll be able to get myself back together, get my life together, and then keep going. Does activism work?
First and foremost, activism works. Okay. I am an activist, first and foremost, and it is through activism that we have actually grown, and it is through telling people, speak up, let us know what is happening, let us know where there is abuse. So activism, especially continual activism, call to arms all the time, when you're reminding people that you are obliged to speak, you need to speak up, you need to talk about it. That is all. That is how we have come to be. We started as a movement. We did not start as an organization. We started as a movement of women who are telling people, don't die with this issue. But I think, and I feel like in Kenya, because one of the things GBV does, people feel like, that thing, watarudiana. Watu wamejifunikia blanketi moja.
Exactly.
Watarudiana. I don't interfere with people who have fought. You know how many times women go to the police, or even men, and they're told, hizi ni mambo za kinyumbani. These are home issues. Go back home. You can sort these issues. How many times, how many of your friends, even you've seen them go through DV and domestic violence, DV. So they've seen them go through DV, and then they go back. And then you're like, I said. So most people are like, those are domestic violence issues of the house, until your friend loses her life. And then you're like,
that's when you say,
she has died. You mean it was serious?
Yes.
I wish we knew. I wish we took it with the weight that we did. Unana, because you see this person, but what you have not understood is that this person, because one of the things domestic violence does is that it takes away your self-esteem. It takes away your hope. There's something that changes in you, that you find yourself going back to the same person who perpetrates the same violence in your life. One, because society stigmatizes divorce and single motherhood. So already you don't want to go into a society that will consider you a failure because your marriage, so to say, has ended. So that is one of the things that we have done. Society has normalized the divorce being a bad thing. But I always ask people, would you rather that your child come back home in a coffin and you bury her, or she comes back home as a single mother? I literally had this conversation with a couple whose child had gone through such bad divorce. She was even featured in TVs. When we reached out to her, and then we went and took her to hospital. And then when I found parents who are relatively well off, and I asked them, when your child was going through all these things, where were you? Why did you tell your child that she has to stay in a bad marriage? They were really, really sorry about it. I said, the next time this child would have come, should have come to you in a coffin. Because this man, literally, he almost killed her. You see, he had beaten her so badly and done so many unspeakable things. It was a bad case. And I asked this parent, why were you telling her? Because the girl told me her parents were telling her that is how marriages are. I said, why would you tell somebody that's how marriages are? That's not how marriages are supposed to be.
That's not how it's
That's not how marriages are supposed to be. When your child goes all the way down to 36 kilos, you should have been worried. You should have been worried. She's being starved. Her children are being starved. What were you doing? So we need to normalize. I'm a parent to these 5 children I keep on talking about. That means my parenting is supposed to be my responsibility for life. It's not that you're now a parent, now they're an adult, now they've gone, so now they're no longer any of my business. If my child calls me today and tells me, Mom, I've been beaten, I'm coming home, I'm telling them, and I keep on telling them all the day, my door, until the day I die, my door is open for you. If somebody even points your finger, run, come home. This door is open, run, come home. Yeah, come home. Parents need to have an open door policy when it comes to their children. They are our children. We bear responsibility for them until we get out of this life. These are our children. We signed up for this. They didn't. We brought them into this life. So we cannot have instances where you tell your child, marriage ni kuvumiliana. That doesn't work. Not in my vocabulary, at least. So we need to normalize that you do not hurt each other in mind.
Parents should be able to say, hey, my door is open for you any time of the day, any time of the month, any time. You should be able to come here when you're feeling you are not safe. And then this goes for men as well, because I'm sure in your case, Jerry, you have come across men who have gone through battering or some form of domestic violence, right?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Yes.
Yes, I have. And
I've seen that.
We have helped a couple of men. I have to be.
Wow.
We've helped a couple of men. I have to be very honest.
Yeah.
We've helped a couple of men, about 4 or 5. Now I can see, not boys, men, actual men.
Yeah.
And we've helped even with just rehoming them and just helping them get their children and just getting back on their feet and starting their life again. And one of the things men are afraid of is stigma.
The stigma.
Stigma. You're a man. Why are you being beaten? You're a man. Why are you being raped? You're a man. Why is this and this happening to you? So they don't have very many places they can go. So even for them, they are forced to come to women organizations for their problems, because no one else is going to listen to them, because the society has normalized that men should not hurt or, men should not feel pain.
That's true.
Yeah, we are not very accepting of men who show any kind of emotion, which is problematic, because if these men are unemotional and then they marry your daughters, then they will also treat your daughters in a manner that is unemotional.
True. Yes.
So we need to normalize men showing their emotions, whether they are good or negative emotions, because these are the same men, unless these women are going to marry other people. See, they're going to marry men.
Absolutely.
And if they're going to marry men, we need to normalize men showing and expressing their emotions, both positive and negative, so that this, you see, I have raised my children in a certain way. I don't know how other people have raised their children. If my children who have raised in this way go and meet a man that has been badly raised and does not show emotion, and my children have been shown express your emotions, and then they go and meet this person who never expresses the emotion, or who knows that emotions ni kukutandika, then now we have a problem, because it means we are not on the same page. But if we as parents could come to a place where we tell our children, both boys and girls, it is okay. I hate it when you tell boys don't cry. No, boys cry, let them cry. Why are you saying they don't cry? See, they are human beings.
Absolutely.
If they are hurt, let them cry. Stop telling them you're a boy. Shut up. And then this person meets your daughter and sees your daughter crying, and they're like, shove it back. Why are you crying?
Why are you
crying? You understand? We have to come to a place. Yeah, we have to come to a place, even a society, where we raise our boys in the same way we raise our children. Otherwise, the way we raise our girls, they're going to meet with a stone. And then now we have a problem.
With a stone of a man.
We have a problem.
I know. One of my friends on Facebook took on the Facebook street and wrote something about visiting, a counselor. I went to see a therapist, something on those lines. And I could see from and this is a male person, I could see from the response that more women were applauding him, but several men were like, no, that's not my thing. Like, I wouldn't do that. Why would you go and see a therapist and things like that? And my heart was breaking even as I was going through the comments, because that just showed me how much ground we are yet to cover when it comes to our men, knowing that it is okay to be able to go and see someone and talk to this person and have some sessions. They can really, really get you from a stuck place and show you so much that is out there. Jerry, I want to ask you, what is activism? How can I, Normal Mwananchi, join hands in activism? What is activism?
Actually, activism is not a complex place. Activism, I would actually want to assume that activism comes from activity. When you join together as people towards a common goal. Let's say for us, it's to end SGBV, isn't it? My common goal is to end SGBV. Imagine if all people came together, if even just bunches of people came together, like the way we do Nyumba Kumi, and we say, in this Nyumba Kumi, we are not going to have any more, you will not be beating your wife as long as you stay in this area.
Yes.
As long as, that's activism right there. There's this complex thing that people think activism is about. When they look at people who make people rally together and come in demonstration, that's how people perceive activism to be. But activism, especially social activism, is joining together towards one cause.
Okay.
Just to change.
Okay.
That is what social activism is about, is rallying together towards one commonality, one common cause, and achieving it. So let's say, for example, as I say, I always say this, that if we follow Nyumba Kumi and we say, know your neighbors, know the things that your neighbors are going through. Trust me, no child will be molested. No one will be harmed, because you will know each other. And by knowing each other, we'll be telling them, in this area, we don't accept men who beat their wives. In this area, we have refused molestation to be happening in our watch, not on our watch, but we are in a place where everybody minds their own business. So if we agree ourselves, common Mwananchi, we say, this is not going to happen. And I found that, interestingly enough, I find that concept working very well in slums. Because when slum people call you, they will come with you to the police station. And
they back you up, right?
This child has been molested. They will back you up. They will walk with you to the police station. Mama Rescue, we are working with you. They will walk with you. They will stay within the police station. They will stay until they make sure the perpetrator is gotten. They will look for the perpetrator themselves. I remember there was a case where the perpetrator ran away. They looked for him until they got him. We went with the perpetrator to the police station. We went with them to hospital. That was amazing. I've not seen this thing anywhere else. You find that they are so concerned about, they even call you up. Kesi ilienda aje, tukuje kotini. Mpaka you are like, Allah, oh,
they care. They actually
because you're so used to carrying the burden alone.
Yes.
Exactly. So they follow up and they're very active about it. I find that that is activism, you understand? Yes. It is activism, concern about each other's welfare. and going all the way. I want people to stop it, to stop assuming that activism can only be done by civil society.
Yes.
That activism is private only to certain people.
Absolutely.
That is a lie.
Yes.
Activism is you and me deciding we want to come together towards a common goal and achieving it. That for me is what activism is.
And Jerry, I like what you said, because in my perspective, not opinion, but in my perspective, I grew up seeing anybody who would go by the name an activist would be either super loud, and something else that would happen. Sorry, something else that would happen as they're as loud is they would end up with some form of beating. Let me just sort this out. Yes.
Actually, yeah, activism and violence.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah.
how about that?
That is what we think activism is.
Can you hear me?
It depends on the activism you are doing.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I was saying activism depends. If you are going to let's say to be a political activist, well, in this atmosphere, you are going to be beaten.
Okay.
Like look at Boniface Mwangi, look at
exactly
people who do a lot of political activism. Yeah, so people actually assume activism only occurs in politics. But what they don't understand is that even in society, there is social activism, which is what we are doing right now. When we have picked up something like GBV and we have decided we are going to be activists. When people ask me, what do you do? I say, I'm a GBV activist.
Exactly.
Because I stand for gender-based, gender-based violence activism. That's where I am involved. There is social justice.
Yes,
nowadays, I'm loving, there's a concept that I'm seeing coming around where you're seeing in very many places social justice warriors. And yeah, they stand and they fight. We also have social media activism where you are calling out things and you're calling out people. Yeah. And right from the safety of your keyboard, we might call keyboard warriors. It's also a form of activism, because you're speaking out. You're speaking out about the ills that affect society. So being an activist does not really mean that you have to go out and demonstrate. You can start by changing just the very place that you're staying in. Activism is not something that should only be NGO based or certain or personality driven. Activism is me and you with Kara Olmorani, me with the Sikime, choosing to make a difference in the society we live. So no, you don't have to be beaten unless you go and ride the political feathers. Then yes.
I grew up seeing what's the name of this guy, Tata some or whatever,
Yes.
Yeah. So anybody who calls themselves an activist, then I would expect, police to be there and burn them and shoot in the air, at times even hurt them. There's blood, there's blood. And so I think most of us are stuck at that place where you just know, I'm not an activist. I don't want to be there. I don't want to go to the streets. I don't want to be shot. I don't want to. But then you explain it very well, being a social activist and doing things in a different way. But then here is something that I'm seeing a trend in Kenya and in the world over. We are having very many people who come in the name of an activist, but then really they put you down. We've talked about keyboard warriors, and they don't. It doesn't come necessarily in a way that is uplifting another. We've seen people even commit suicide because of people who sit down and do some type of messages on social media. So where is the line? Where is the line that you say, hey, this is not actually, now this is bullying and or this is encouraging?
This is bullying.
Because the line is very thin.
Actually, activism should be something that brings in positive change. If this thing that you're all advocating for is going to bring negative reactions, then that is not activism, that is bullying.
Okay.
We also need to draw a line between activism and bullying. Activism is clamoring for positive change. Activism is saying, let's say like the way Wandi and Joya is very passionate about education. That is positive change. She's clamoring for our children to get positive. to get better education, you understand? But if you are bullying people, there has to be a line where we draw in social media where we say this is bullying. You cannot go after somebody's children. You cannot go after somebody's people. You cannot go for all these things. That is not change. That is just you being a negative Nancy and using your what would I call it, your social credibility to actually bring somebody down. We've seen a lot of bullying where when you start talking about somebody's features, somebody's children, when you start going after things that are not necessarily have anything to do with the issue at hand. Activism should not be about personalities. Activism should be about, if we're talking about corruption, what are we doing about it? We are saying root out corruption by its roots, but you're not coming for somebody's children just because this politician has children that you understand what I mean? Or you are coming and telling somebody you're very ugly and so on and so forth, then that becomes bullying. That is not activism. That is simply bullying. And we need to differentiate between activism and bullying.
I hear you. Recently there's a friend who put out a post on the daughter. The daughter went missing, and my heart broke into tiny little pieces because this was like a teenager, 13, 14, and instead of people rallying behind and sending it out and calling for help, because the faster we circulate that and someone is able to see them, to see that person, the faster we can be able to rescue this child. But then the comments that followed, and most of the comments that followed actually were, we are meant to kuolewa. That one is just going to have some, something a little bit, and then she'll be back. Don't worry, And I felt really broken as a parent. And when they found her later on, people were saying, is she pregnant now? I scared, I enjoy, was it nice? And then I'm thinking,
wow, that is terrible.
How low have we gotten as a society? How do you comment about that kind of a thing? You have no idea what transpired. You do not know what the girl went through, but you just decided. So I think, you're so right. Whatever we get down to saying on social media, we should be very careful to know, is this bullying, or how are you helping when you make such remarks, when you make such comments? I think that was very, very unfortunate. Jerry, before you go, I see we have run out of time. I have two questions for you. The first one is, when someone comes to usikimye, what happens and how long do I have as a gender-based violence, as a DV, as a domestic violence survivor? How long will you keep me in your home before I'm back in the street of hustling and getting my life back together? And then finally, I will ask you to wrap up with your final thoughts. But please tell us, when I come to Usikimia shelter, what is expected of me? Am I expected to pay some money? Walk me through
that. When you come to us as a GBV survivor, first and foremost, we don't charge. So your stay with us is free. Okay. We give you accommodation. We give you, that is shelter. We give you food, and we give you social psychotherapy.
Wow.
And a minimum stay is about 6 weeks.
Okay.
That's stay. Maximum. So basically, that is when we can release you, and that depends from case to case, because sometimes you have to look. If I release this person, where is this person going to go? You see, we also have to be, even when you're doing this, we also want to avoid dependency, because the person can come and become dependent on you and not want to leave.
Yeah.
Very comfortable. Yeah. But you also have to look like this person has no parents, has nowhere else to go. If I release this person, I'm releasing this person to go where exactly? Where am I saying they go? But mostly 6 weeks is the maximum number of weeks we are supposed to stay with you. Okay. But we've had a case where we can't release this girl because she has absolutely nowhere to go. So we know 100%, I release her, she will go right back to that man.
Back to the
because she's an orphan. She has no, she's an orphan. She has no one else apart from that man who had locked her into his house for 3 weeks, and he was just beating on her, and she lost her hearing. So you see, we actually look at case to case, but from regular cases where this person has relatives, you know, you can acclimatize them back into society, then that 6 weeks is what they stay. They stay with us. So no, you don't pay. We will give you food, we'll give you clothes, we'll give you a place to stay with your children, and yeah, and social cycle support. And we've started programs where we are giving them skills so that they can be able, when they go back to society, they can be able to survive.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So no charges, please.
And all this in 6 weeks. Amazing. You're doing a good job. Please wrap up with your final words. Just tell us what are your final points.
My final point is you and me. That's the motto of Usikimia. You and me can stop GBV, SGBV. It is in our hands. It is possible to actually stop. Every one of us needs to be an advocate of change. It is upon us. It is our responsibility as society to stop sexual and gender-based violence. And it is our responsibility to protect our children. Our children should not live their lives in fear. Our children should know only love. They have no business being introduced into things that, you know, they're children. Let them be children. So be the protector of your children and be an agent of change. It is possible to bring change. And change starts with you and me. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That has been Jerry speaking to us, co-founder of Usikimie. You have heard from her. Reach out to her. You will have a cool 6 weeks to put your life back together. 6 weeks is a long time when you're not paying any rent. They don't ask you for a single dime. They just need you to get back up and take control of your life. That is very selfless of them. So I want to encourage you to please reach out. We're going to put Jerry's number on our comment section. Please reach out to her. She's very reachable. She's put herself, her life on the line just to ensure that you and I are safe, regardless of how old you are, regardless if you're a man or a woman. She will be able to come to your rescue in one way or another, even in the middle of the night. As I was telling you earlier, I've talked to her right in the middle of the night, 1 a.m, and she's still doing a rescue. She's doing an amazing job together with her co-founder, Stella. May the Lord bless you so much. Now, Jerry, they work with you. They work with you supporting them. That is Usikimie. They work with you. You know, that 500 shillings, that 1,000 for my American friends, that $5, that $100, it goes a long way to ensure that someone is not stuck in their home and abuse is going on. So please reach out. There's Wave. You can always wave money to her. And you know what? It's not you're sending to her. You will be rescuing someone. As always, where is my teal today? Today I have a very little teal right here. And we say teal stands for survivors. That is the color for survivors, sexual survivors. So whenever you see teal, you do either 3 things: you protect, you report, or you support. As Jerry rightfully put it, it's you and me. You and I, we can do so much. Report, support, or do something. Just do something, make a step, and ensure that you're making a difference in someone's life. That has been our time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. And please continue to share. Let us meet next Wednesday for another Warrior Wednesday. God bless you. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.